everyone, welcome on YourPedia, and today I am sitting in the campus of Punjab University, and with me is Madam Dipender Kaur Bakshi. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
So, ma'am is joint director in a very crucial and important department of Punjab government, that is State Council, Punjab State Council for Science and Technology. So, ma'am, today we are in the conference, which is Transfer of Technology Conference, and we will be discussing more about that. But first we start from the significance, relevance and roles and responsibility of this very crucial department. You are a joint director in Punjab State Council for Science and Technology. Please tell us about the significance of this department.
Yeah, sure. So I'm from Punjab State Council Science and Technology. These are the councils which were constituted by Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, basically to run the agenda for science, technology, innovation for the states, to percolate the vision which is at the national level and how that vision can go to the state level in order to strengthen the science and technology culture. So this is my council at Punjab, and we are running a mission Innovate Punjab in my council, and basically we are working on various verticals. It is not only the STI infrastructure, policy and planning, but we are also giving a lot of emphasis when we are talking of the research institution and how the research institutions, they should align their research to the state grant challenges, to the industrial competence. We are also having a stakeholder in the form of the startups, where we have a division, startup facilitation division, where we are trying to nurture and promote the young blood, young startups, trying to give them the mentorship. And we are also working with the schools where the popularization of science programs are being carried out. And another important vertical is the industry. It's a technology facilitation division where we are in touch with more than 7,000 industry, trying to give them the technology input which can actually increase their competence. So this is under Mission Innovate we are trying to achieve under my council.
So many important portfolios under the umbrella term of State Council Punjab and but ma'am, two domains which I'll be more interested to talk today. One is industria, academia collaboration and the gap, why we think there's a gap and how we are collaborating that through your department. Second will be related to startups and entrepreneurship. I'll be talking more about these two, ma'am. So I'll start very straight from industry, academia, collaborations. We always talk about that, ma'am, and we find that there is some gap. And that gap needs to be bridged, and your department is doing wonderful work in that. So my question to you will be, why there is a gap? That is number one. And how your department and your contribution is trying to plug that gap?
I think it's a very relevant question, because in today's era when we are talking, so we take them as two different verticals, because we consider research institutions and universities on the one hand as a one vertical, and the industry on the other hand as a second vertical. Because I would say, but both of them, they need each other. Why so? Because when we are talking of institutions, the research institution, lot of public funding is flowing, lot of knowledge is being created, lot of research is happening, that is a hub of creativity and innovation, right? So because with kind of a expertise, the kind of infrastructure they have, so lot of innovation which is coming out can be either in the form of a publication, patent, or it can be transferred to the industry. On the other side, when we're talking of industry is, because they have volumes to play, they have more capacity, but barring from the very high capital intensive industries, if we talk about the smaller industries, the research and innovation is either they are dependent on the others to get it because they do not have in-house, or they have to depend on the academia. But somehow the gap is there, and that is because what happens is that when we talk of the technologies which have to flow from the research institution to the industry, there are TRL levels, so you start from 1 to 9. When we are talking to research institution with the kind of a capacity they have, with the kind of infrastructure and the volumes they have, they are able to achieve it up till TRL 4, 3, 4, 5. But when industry wants to have that technology, it is at the level of 7, 9, where they can have a commercialization. So another thing is that both of them, because they're working in their silos, research institutions, they're developing their own technologies as per their own whatever the creativity they have or whatever expertise they have, not going to industry initially to understand what is they require. So they have their own bouquet of technology. When they have prepared technology, they have spent money, and when they go to industry, industry says we don't want this technology. On the other hand, the industry is wanting that technology which is of their use. So we are just trying to plug the gap between the two, making them both understand, trying to create a platform. This is one platform where we are today. Smart MedTech is one where we have tried to get in the institutions which are working in the smart medical technologies along with the industry. But we have been doing this for the past 3, 4, 5 years, where we are doing such kind of a conclaves, and we are trying to make them sit together to have that kind of a structure where both of them, at the initial point only, they can have some mechanism to go, so that whatever the research is flowing out of research institution can be of use to industry.
So ma'am, as you mentioned, you are working on in this particular domain for the last couple of years.
Yes.
Maybe you must have started from one level, and today when we are talking, when we are sitting, we are at some particular level, and more levels are to be achieved.
Yes.
I would like to know, ma'am, how was your evolution and how was the journey? Where we are today, and where do you see yourself after a couple of years in this?
Very true, because I would say initially we were working more towards the research institutions, and when we were talking to them, so many technologies coming out, so we said yes, let's have this conclave, let's have conference, let's get the industry. And then when we started talking to industry, after doing 1 or 2 programs, we could get it, industry is not coming to such, very less industry is coming, or the industry just having a, so we started talking to them, that is then they said ki if you want the industry to come, then it has to be the technologies which are for us, which we want to be there, and we have our own problem statements. So we started one initiative in which we started mapping the tech intensive industry of Punjab. My team and a team of Technology Enabling Center, we started visiting industry which is tech intensive, which is having the research and all. So till now we have mapped 100 such tech intensive industries. Idea was to understand what is the kind of a research infrastructure they have, and second, what problem statement they have. For example, if they have 1, 2, 3 problem statement, and if this problem statement can be taken to the research institution and tell them this is what industry want, and if you can prepare something, they'll be ready to buy. So that is 110 such of technologies which we, and now the industry has started really having a faith on us, and they have started coming out with us. So this is the third, and we had a lot of participation today. 80 plus industries are there, and they're also asking us. We did last month one such meeting for battery cluster also. That was in Ludhiana, and it was a successful, because the battery cluster units, they interacted with the institutions who are preparing the advanced technologies. So certain things have started rolling out, but I'm very sure in near future I see a very positivity, and we'll be having more such conclaves, and more technologies will get done. When we did the first, no technology was transferred, but when we did the last one, after that we could transfer 6, 7 technologies, and after this I am very hopeful that we'll be able to cross 10, 12 or maybe 15 technologies will get transferred.
Wonderful. So ma'am, I interacted since morning with the researchers, and wonderful research they have done, especially because today's conference was related to medical devices domain. So wonderful research they have done, as you mentioned, and then I talked to industries also, people from industries also, and they are quite bullish about the kind of research which is going on, and it is required. Now is the time when technology is very fast changing, and technology is changing every walk of life, including businesses. And those who will not, just now one industrialist told me that if you will not adopt these technologies and changes which are coming, you will become obsolete, and you may not be long in business. So now there's a need also, I mean, for this collaboration. But then when I ask them very clearly, like, what stops you from outreaching? Industry is of the opinion that the research which is going on in the labs, that research is wonderful, but precursor to that is like it should be seen very clearly that whether that research eventually will be culminated in a product which customer is looking for. Researchers on the other hand, they obviously have global perspective. They see the things happening world over, and they create wonderful research, and they say that technology is wonderful, and industry should now make products on this and then sell it out. So there's a gap, and your role is very, very challenging in that. Needless to say, because you are trying to bring them
facilitator.
So I would like to ask you, ma'am, what challenges have you seen in this job of collaborating industry and academia, and how you said you are very optimistic in future things will gel up. So how you think this is going to work?
You yourself has already commented how the researchers feel about their
Yes,
research, because
yes.
when the researcher is doing, because they have got their own mind, they have got their intelligence, they've got a creativity, innovation, and whatever they're making, they feel this is a beautiful. And of course they also do a lot of literature
Right, ma'am.
search is done, and they're looking for the global markets and all, but they do not go into reality,
Right.
because they have to see what segment are they targeting. If they want that technology which they are developing, it has to go to the industry which is of the region. Then of course we need to understand what is the need of the industry. That is very, very true. And the second thing you said is, industry will not survive the market on the obsolete
Yes.
products, obsolete technologies.
True.
And they have to change very fast. But that kind of fastness is little difficult when academia, because I tell you, because when research is there, research also takes lot of time,
Yes,
lots of
yes,
funds, lots of, so scientists is also doing equally a great job, because the kind of a hard work they are putting in. The only solution can be the both of them, they have to be regularly meeting each other. There is a concept outside where what is done is कि once when the research is there and it is culminating with technology, they have got certain expert team or something, but the industry is also the member. So they sit, they deliberate. Then only when the industry say कि yes, this has some market and they see some potential in it, then only that product is taken further. Then it is patented, or otherwise they tell the innovator that if he wants to carry out the research, they can do, but for the transfer and all, their department will not be able to do it. So there's a clear-cut indication. But what happens in here is that in our academic systems, everything happens when the technology has come to TRL level 4, then we start calling industry, come and please meet. I think once you are clear that your technology has potential, there should be in-house meetings with the industrial partners. Like you identify, for example, if I'm in a textile, I'm doing something in textile, or maybe I'm doing something in cosmetics. Maybe you can have some local industry coming to you, and they can sit. But then there is another problem which the researchers very afraid of, is the the research, which if it gets out, if there's not non-disclosure agreement has not been signed, and it feels if my research, if my idea goes out, somebody takes it and does it, then the researcher is gone. So that faith, that confidence, and that credibility has to come to our system. Both industry and researchers, they have to do their job. Both of them do a marvelous job, because I feel they are also putting in their hard work, and industry is also doing wonderful. But both of them, they have to have a little faith on each other. They need to come out of their comfortable zones. They have to, industry started now coming to the researchers, but now I feel researchers, they should leave their laboratories. They should be visiting the industry, because once you see the industry, you can see the scale they are in. Because when you are working in your lab, you have a miniature sort of a thing, your capacities are come. But when you go to industry, you see such a scale and such a volume. Sometimes your technology works at this volume, but it doesn't work in this volume. So that kind of a thing, and I think both are educated enough, and both are very on a very frontal side, so they can understand, but they need to sit and talk it out, and then I think it will be wonderful. And whatever the legal hassles are there, I think nobody should be having any doubt on that. They should be signing some non-disclosure agreements, or something, whatever is to be signed can be signed, and I think it will make a difference. And that is what we are trying to also do from our side.
Needless to say, ma'am, your role, your job in this particular department is much needed to plug that gap. Ma'am, other than industry and academia, there is another stakeholder which is very, very important, and that you have taken care of in one of your projects, which is called Capstone project. We would like to know more about that.
Yes. And before going to that, I will also say that the another vertical, when we are talking of academia, science and technology organization, and industry, so startup is another another vertical which can play a very crucial role in plugging the gaps. Why so? Because startup also is very innovative. He has a risk-taking capacity and very creative. Like industry, if has to take something, if has to evolve, then that risk-taking capacity, because a lot of money is involved. But at a startup scale, that is not much. And on the other side, he has, because we have set up all the incubators which are there in institutions, so they are the nurturing ground for the startups. So many startups who are coming from the academia already have the academic mentors. So startup can be a game changer if both the industry and the academia they can actually have some faith on the startups. Then I think they can do wonders. Startups can act as an ancillary for the industry, and they can be the knowledge. I mean, the tech transfers they can be from the academia to startup, and the scale up can be in the industrial setting. But with startups on board with the industry, I think that can be another chain which we can look at.
Yeah. So where your department is playing a role in that, ma'am?
We are also doing, we have a startup facilitation division. I'm heading that division, and right now we are doing 2-3 programs, and we are doing a dedicated program for women entrepreneurs, which we call it as a SHE program. It is a startup handholding and empowerment. And from last 3 years we are working on that, and we've got wonderful 40 women founders who are working with us, and we have partners as the incubators, ecosystem enablers who are nurturing. It's called a community, SHE community, where everybody is there and trying to nurture these startups. So that is another program which we are doing with the startups. But coming to your another question of the capstone.
Yeah. So capstone I'll ask, but in link with your earlier this answer, ma'am, a very relevant question I want to ask you.
Yeah.
You said that the startups require some kind of hand holding. Not only hand holding from the academic institute if these are created from there, because normally startups are created by those youngsters who just get qualified from some academic institute. They have some ideas, they want to conceive something and they want to create something. Then there is industry which have a lot of experience, expertise, and they really can help the startups to help them to understand how the product will be sold and all. My question to you is now, on the basis of the vast experience you have interacting with them, why industry will handhold a startup? Why industry will waste its time or resource? Because industry, unlike government, does not have a social motive to fulfill. So why industry do you think will play that particular role?
There are two answers to this question.
Right.
The first thing, because industry is doing too much. They are totally into the business, because their main target is of course the production, and then they have to go in for the commercialization. The market is there.
Right.
But there has to be, like you said, the products have to evolve, the innovation has to come. So there is some concept, whatever the products they have, in that product, the innovation, the market capture. So you may be having 100%, but maybe 3% you might be having certain ancillary, certain product which requires an innovation and requires a market catching up. Maybe that startup with its capability has that to build up that brand for him. Then why not? Why not? Then you just have to open a door for the startups. You have to sign your whatever the agreements are there. The startup can be working for that. He'll be able to get the larger infrastructure in your market. He'll be able to get. But in meantime, you will be also able to get the innovative. So those arrangements we would be required to work, of course. It will not be very easy, but these things can work. And I have seen the startups, because these days government is pushing so much funds are coming, so much schemes are there, so much support is there, incubators are there. So startups are trying to do many things, and they are actually breaking barriers and doing such smart things. If they can get integrated with industry, and they are also wanting, because what is happening is they are acquiring the knowledge from academia, but to commercialize, they're asking, they're knocking at the door of industry that if I make this, you will buy this. So this is what is happening. They are going to the industry. So some way, maybe if they can have some market channel or something like that, or if they're having some from stage 1, stage 2, this is their stage 2 product, to go to the stage 3, they're able to depend on for the stage 2 product. Why not? I think a win-win situation for all of them can be there.
Very true, very true. So ma'am, capstone project.
Yeah, capstone project is very passionate about, because we just started this project. This is a passionate project. This also germinated from, because when we did this survey to industry and we got 110 technological problems coming out, then we were thinking of certain consultancy projects came in, because when we were talking to researchers, some of them, they were taken up. But then we thought we have such a great force in terms of our engineering students, in form of our scientist students who are there, management students are there. They are in the masters, they require certain internship, PhD, BSc. So there might be certain problems that they also might be able to do. So we constituted an expert team which had good experts from very good institutions, IT Roper, PEC, we constituted So this team, then we took up because they were having such kind of engineering students in their campuses. So when we approached them and asked them, these are the problem statements given by, so will your students will be able to do? They could identify 29 of such problems which could be handled by their students. So we were very happy and exciting. Yes, this can also be done. So we then floated, after this, we floated a advertisement and we, invited the expression and we thought, we'll get just very scanty response, but enormous response we got. Enormous response. The students are very excited to work with the industry because in this we are wanting that these are the problems which industrial mentors will be also there. So students are very excited about that, and we've got a very huge response, and we are very sure the program is just launching up. It's just in a pipeline. It's being launched, and I can really see that in near future there'll be more synergies between the students and the industry, and they will be working together. And this will also give a push to the startup ecosystem. Also, these students might be wanting to take up a role of the entrepreneur, and they might want to become a startup. So this might be giving that also. So I'm also excited, but let's see how we are launching this, and then after this launch, let's see what is the result. So we'll be very happy.
Wonderful. Ma'am, now we have come to almost an end of our wonderful session, but I'll ask you the last question, and that is related to your vision for the activities which you are doing in your department. Next couple of years, what you are conceiving for your department, how do you think things are going to unfold?
Yes, so these are some of the things what we are doing, but these are still in the infancy stage. We are trying to do, like as I told you about the startups, industry academia, we are visiting. Because the industry has the whatever the problem statements, some technologies have to roll their way also. So we want to take it in a very, very big way. That is one thing what we want to do. We also want to set up a center which can have a center which is there for more towards where the technologies can also be accredited, validated, and then can be scaled up, so that industry knows that yes, this is a department and they have validated, so this will be of use to me. So we are in a pipeline. We looked at that center also, which is going to come. Another thing is the patents, because there's so many patents which are coming up. But patents are being granted, but how many patents are being commercialized? So that is another, because a lot of funding is there. Government is funding so much of money. So where is that going? So government is also emphasizing that these patents needs to be commercialized. So we have set up intellectual property management commercialization cells and institutions. We are hand holding that whatever technologies are coming out, so let's commercialize them. So I see this as a very, very futuristic. I see a very good opportunity, and with all the wings opening, with the industry opening, with the academia opening, with the startup coming into picture, I think I see a lot of positivity and a lot of action which is going to happen, and we'll be very happy to support all this endeavor which is happening, and try to make this region as try to make Punjab and this region actually a robust innovation ecosystem. Should be thriving over here. So that is what we want to.
Okay, so that was a wonderful session, ma'am, and a lot of things which came from your side. I relish that totally, and I am very sure, ma'am, those who will be listening to us, this conversation, they will be getting a lot of inputs. And you, again, at the end, I will appreciate, ma'am, the kind of activities which your department is doing, because that is something which is required. And if industry academia, that gap is plugged, that eventually will make India Atmanirbhar. That is what we conceive, we visualize. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.